Mobile homes just like these ones may be in jeopardy. Laws are changing that'll affect you as a mobile home owner and mobile home investor. We're going to talk about what these laws are, how they affect you, and what I'm doing to invest my money to stay safe with regards to mobile homes now and moving forward. Let's jump into it. John Fedro here with mobilehomeinvesting.net. I've been investing in mobile homes now for 24 years and helping people start their own mobile home investment businesses for the last 16. And in that time, we have not gotten a lot of respect as mobile home investors or mobile home enthusiasts. Well, now we're starting to get some more respect, damn it. And there's been some federal changes, there's been some state changes. We're going to talk about what those are and what that means for manufactured homes. Is it going to be the sort of the end of factory built housing, or is it going to be a new boom? And what realistically is going to happen? Let's talk about that. Let's go into the federal stuff, and then we'll go into the state stuff, which I think is actually a bigger issue. And it didn't cost any money. And we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. Stay tuned. The first change, let's take a trip back to 2024 when a Chevron ruling was overturned. You may have not heard about that, but that means now that the courts must independently interpret the statutes. What a concept for the courts to do their job and interpret the statutes instead of leaning on case law or deferring it out to branches of the government. For example, the Department of Housing and Urban Development wants chassis to be on manufactured homes. Like that's why mobile homes, they cannot be a mobile home without that chassis underneath. Well, now, in 2026, that is not the case anymore. It's optional, but the builder can now have it where there's no chassis, there's a chassis. So now you go down a street and you might not notice, oh, is that a manufactured home? Is that a regular house? Because nowadays we can tell that. And I think the housing lobbyists, they don't like this because they like that a manufactured home looks like a manufactured home. But now with this Road to Housing Act that just came out, no chassis are needed once the manufactured home is delivered. So, I mean, now builders have freedoms to do a lot more stuff, which we'll talk about in kind of what's realistic. Now, this did not change this next one, but I think it's very important to what we're going to talk about later. But comps, single family house comps can be used as supporting comps for mobile homes on land. Meaning, if you are selling a mobile home with land and you're in an area that doesn't have a lot of recent mobile homes on land sold nearby for some reason, well, you can use single family home sales. Oh, that single family home sold for 200,000, that sold for 200,000, that sold for 250. You can use that even though your property that you're selling is a manufactured home, similar age, similar square feet and size land and stuff. But that's pretty awesome. So the comps, that's a cool one I wanted to mention. It wasn't exactly like something that was happened too recently, but the Department of Energy is now out. They are not in charge of the efficiency and energy standards for manufactured homes, which is kind of weird because, I mean, that is their job, the Department of Energy. But anyway, if you're one of those tree huggers trying to go green, you can take a hike. Just kidding. But that is going to allow manufactured home builders to have now more of a stretch, and they can sell much less expensive manufactured homes that are not built nearly as well or nearly as insulated or efficient. And then they're going to have way, nice, super green homes that are super energy efficient. So I think that's kind of cool. Now with the state stuff, this is pretty cool. Now these are the House bills. These are the 4 states that are currently doing this. One of the biggest issues with manufactured homes and affordable living is that they're tough to where you can put them. And you may have heard this, you may know this, and if you do, I'll be quick. But around the country, most land is not zoned for a manufactured home, meaning mobile homes can only be in certain areas. And I'm saying mobile home and manufactured home interchangeably, but that's because local municipalities, cities, the city officials turn their noses up to manufactured homes, or they can't get as much tax revenue from a mobile on land versus a house on land. And so in a lot of states, the cities say, hey, you can't have mobile homes here. Even though it's a HUD approved home to live in by the Housing and Urban Development, and they've said you can live in this home but nope, the cities and the states say, nope, you got to put your approved factory home way over here on the other side of the train tracks. Well, now that is not the case. In these 4 states, which I believe are all red states, which is surprising and awesome that these states took it upon themselves, much to the dismay, I'm sure, of some of the city officials that don't like manufactured homes. Now, manufactured homes, factory built housing is allowed anywhere single family residences are allowed. Now, granted, the local municipality will still have some say. The home has to be brand new. The home has to be, 5 years or older. The home has to be this many square feet, something like that. So, but it can't just be because it's a factory built house. It cannot be allowed here. So that's incredible. That is so cool right there. Um, that happened with no new spending. I should have said that a little sooner because that's an awesome part right there. Just by making this change, that states didn't have to spend a dime, and now most of the homes that come from the factories, 70% or more of the manufactured homes that come from the factory go to their own little parcels of land. And now if you can have an option for where in the city limits you can have a nice manufactured home put onto your property that is around, in the area that you want to be in, and it doesn't have to have a chassis on it, so it can sit closer to the ground. It can look like an actual home. It can be built with a different, floor plan. It doesn't have to be just a rectangle. So what does this mean for the real world? And by the way, more states to come? I 100% think so. And I think that's so awesome. I hope we keep going in this trajectory. Now, are you thinking, oh my God, this is like going to revolutionize everything? And I thought that a little bit at first, but then the cynical side of me came over and was thinking about, well, there's been modular homes for the last 2 decades or more. I mean, there's modular homes already exist, and those are allowed where single family residences are allowed because they're built to local housing standards, not like regional housing standards, but local city standards. And so modular homes have already been here. So you could have a nice neighborhood and then also many times have a modular home put in if you wanted to. And then there's also mobile homes that are pit set. There's a way that you dig the ground, you dig a little pit underneath the mobile home, and that way the home can sit right on the pit. I'll show some pictures here as I'm talking. And these homes right here, they might not look like mobile homes. They do because they're rectangles, but then you can see them, they're actually sitting like more on the ground. There's not that much skirting. It looks kind of in between like a house and a mobile home. And so you can go underneath these mobile homes in the back. There's like a little access point so that you can get to the plumbing. But those have already existed. So I mean, why haven't parks like mobile home parks, if the aesthetic was so important, why aren't there more pit set mobile home parks? Granted, pit set is best for like certain conditions where there's not a lot of flooding or freezing. But with that being said, let's talk about what I think is realistic in no particular order. I've made these little flashcards, no expense spared here. And then I'm going to go after this. I want to talk about what I think is going to be happening, or what is happening in today's real world. Like, how has this changed things for mobile home investors? So I think that there's definitely going to be more basements. That affects mobile homes on land. By the way, this is like high $1 million homes, like Taylor Swift kind of properties up here. These are just like, $1 million or less neighborhood kind of houses, mansions, houses, and then mobile homes, probably in parks because it's like super affordable. So I think there's definitely going to be more basements. Now that you don't need those chassis, it's easier to put them on basements. You can have more mobile home and land investors, people that are buying the land and then they're putting a brand new manufactured home on it, especially if you can do this in areas that are really upscale. The public learns that mobile homes and land do appreciate. There's going to be more just talk. Mobile homes aren't going to be pushed under the rug anymore. You can actually appreciate, or they do appreciate, instead of people just thinking, yeah, mobile homes don't appreciate. They're just like cars. Granted, the ones with the land appreciate a little bit more, obviously, because of the land. Oh, and this is, I think, going to be very important, is that I don't think there's going to be as much wild stuff. I don't think we're going to see like Jetson-style homes or anything like from the future with these builders, because I think it's going to be more like McMansion stuff, like stuff that is already being lived in right now. What do people want? But they can just get it at a fraction of the price. Well, it's going to be McMansions, in my opinion. So it's just going to be neighborhoods that are, you don't even know what you're seeing. Is this a manufactured home? Is this that line really blurs between site built and manufactured. You have more mobile homes in beach type of areas. No change right here. No change. I think it's going to be obviously up here. I don't think that the fact that any of this is happening is not going to affect these super high-end homes. But as far as these, like most homes around the country, and places with land, I think there are going to be more an infiltration of manufactured homes that look like regular houses. Build to rent neighborhoods of manufactured homes with yards and fences. You just have entire neighborhoods of just manufactured homes that are there just for people to rent. They have build-to-rent houses now, and I think there's going to be a lot of build-to-rent. Well, I don't know if a lot, but I foresee that. And then upscale non-HOA neighborhoods with new manufactured homes. That's something that we've been talking about a bunch, like regular neighborhoods on private roads that have nice homes that, boom, now there's a manufactured home there. And again, much to the dismay of some of the neighbors as well. Like once they see that manufactured home being brought in off of a truck, some of those neighbors will probably faint and think their property values are going, plummeting. And honestly, time will tell of what happens there. A normal 36-inch lifted mobile home prevents against flooding. I suppose that's both. I'll put that kind of in the middle. More mobile home duplexes and triplexes. I guess that could kind of go in the middle as well. I could see that being in parks if the park owner wanted to rent them out. And yes, they're already duplexes. They're coming out with triplexes as well. Due to the Department of Energy being removed and less energy efficient rules, higher energy bills for those trying to save money. So people that want to buy a new manufactured home, but they go for the cheap route and one that is not very economical, and they end up having higher energy bills. The landowner can still force residents to keep or remove a chassis. I think that's going to be important. When it's in a park, the landowner is still going to be able to say, hey, I want it this way for you to be in the community. Upscale mobile home parks, hopefully the government will start to say, give tax breaks or favorable loans for mobile home parks that look a certain way. After World War II, there were a number of different tax breaks and favorable loans given to mobile home parks that have wider streets, they had garages, they had bigger lots instead of being all smushed together. So, I mean, any way that they can build more mobile home parks, that will certainly help out with affordable housing. No chassis. This is something I didn't talk about until now. That's going to save maybe around $5,000 or $10,000 when you actually buy the mobile home. Well, that's if the company passes the savings on to you. Because if they don't have to give all of that metal to you, if they're giving you this manufactured home, but they can keep the chassis, they're keeping, that's 5 or 10 grand. So, I mean, I don't know if they're going to pass it off to the actual end buyer, but in theory, a home with no chassis should be cheaper. And then on the flip side of that, when you go to move the home somewhere, because they can still be moved, even though the chassis is gone, when you want to move the home and upgrade in the future, well, that mobile home that's without a chassis, the chassis can be put on. The home can be lifted from the ground, chassis can be put on, axles, wheels, tongue, and it goes off. But that will probably increase 5 grand or so, maybe more, per side of the home. So I'll put that, I guess, sort of in the middle as well, where the no chassis, it's going to save money when you buy, but then when you do go to move it down the road, it will be more expensive. And then a normal 36-inch lifted mobile home allows for the pipes to be fixed easily versus a lower slab set home. So yeah, I'll put this right here, I guess. Well, maybe there. I guess up here. All right, what else do we got? A normal 36-inch lifted mobile home on cinder blocks or piers is the most affordable. That's the truth. That can go down there. May leads to, these changes here, it may lead, and this is all just my guessing, educated guessing, may lead to laws. This is something I've heard somewhere, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. May lead to laws giving mobile home park residents park ownership if the residents own their own home. Meaning, if there's a mobile home park where everyone has these ground set mobile homes and no one has them up on wheels and they're not as mobile, I could see an argument that courts are saying, well, since these homes aren't mobile, then it is a little bit like real property. And therefore, if the homes are considered real property in a park, I mean, how does that work? Does the landowner then have to give some kind of equitable right of ownership to the residents? So this one I'm not sure will ever happen. I have mixed feelings about that for sure as a park owner. But that's what I think the changes are. Now, some of the uphill climbs, let's do that and then talk about what's happening in today's world and how I'm investing. Uphill climb. New mobile home park creation. We just talked about that. The red tape to create these parks and limited lending options makes a handful of parks, a new handful of parks, come online every single year, which is not enough because there's like 10 or 20 that disappear and then only a handful to replace them. And so you have this dwindling sector that is mobile home parks. Multiple state and city leaders still are NIMBY, not in my backyard. There's a lot of people, and that's because the public perception was at a high back in like when they first came out in the 50s, 1950s, and then obviously it came down, and then I think we're on an upswing. We're definitely on an upswing. We're getting a little bit more respect, and with mobile homeowners or investors rather, this might be small. I'll try to zoom in on this. Mobile home investors, the mobile home owners in parks on land, they're getting squeezed. Prices are going up, and people have to pay their bills every single month, whether it's in a park or not. People need help. It's business as usual. Prices have come down some, and there's less buyers in the market because people aren't just throwing money like they were a couple years ago. But the sellers are feeling that too. Homeowners are feeling that. There's fewer buyers to help them. That means you are more important. So we have to get a better deal, but sellers need help, park managers need help, and buyers want to buy. When we can buy them for a good deal, we sell them for a good deal, and the homes sell. If you're selling where everyone else is trying to sell, it's going to sit. If you're below everyone else, it's going to sell. Granted, the home has to look comparable somewhat. And then keep your mobile homes in parks. I don't know who you are. I don't know what exactly you're doing in this business, but if you have mobile homes in parks, I say keep them affordable. Just put them in like normal. Normal install is the cheapest. On blocks, leveling it or piers. And yeah, in my opinion, I'm not going to change anytime soon for that. Land and new mobile home packages. Now, I will change for this. I love the idea of putting a nice manufactured home in a single family house neighborhood. Now you are attracting people with more money. They're expecting to pay more. You can just make more of a profit. Period. I mean, you can be in like a beach town, a beach neighborhood, and you can put a manufactured home in there that's gorgeous and a big wraparound porch, and you're into it for a fraction of the cost as a single family house. Plus, it took like 3 months from start to finish versus a year and a half, give or take, if you were going to build something there. And then the mobile homes. Oh yeah, I already said that. I think we're getting a little bit more respect in this business. Slowly, maybe another 100 years, they'll be legal more, or people will like them even more. All right, thank you so much for watching. Hope this made sense. Thanks for watching and sticking with me this whole time. If you got some value, please hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps with the channel and the algorithm. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to comment below or email me directly at support@mobilehomeinvesting.net. That's support@mobilehomeinvesting.net. Thank you so much.